ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. I repeat a million times, but I don't tire from doing it. The source of my inspiration is always the Bible. And basically the stories of Genesis, of Bereshit. I think there is so much wisdom in all these stories. One of them is, of course, the deluge. It rained incessantly. The entire world was flooded. There was a flood. Only Noah and his immediate family survived that flood. What was the problem with those people? Our rabbis say once they did not respect anymore private property, that's when it came all about. But my teacher, Rabbi Soloveitchik, says, you know what their problem really was? They were hedonistic. They were constantly looking for pleasure. They wanted pleasure above everything else, to satisfy all their appetites, and eventually the deluge came. After the deluge, after this incessant rain that covered the earth, there was another generation called Dor HaHaflaga. These were people that built the Tower of Babel, a tower that was going to serve as north for everybody so that they shouldn't disperse. What was their characteristic? It was no longer pleasure. It was power. They wanted power. They wanted power above all human beings. They wanted over all human beings. They wanted power over nature. They wanted even power over God. Power. They were just drunk with power. So my teacher, Rabbi Soloveitchik, says the following. That when you have a generation that is hedonistic, that only seeks pleasure, eventually it'll turn into a power-grabbing institution, and you will see how society is really dominated by tyrants. That's what happens. He says, for instance, during the Second World War, Germany in the 20s and the 30s was all interested in pleasure and satisfying the personal needs. Eventually it turned into a tyranny. We live in the United States and in many other countries today. We have so many things about us that can satisfy whatever appetite we have. And we are looking for pleasure. We're looking to live better. Eventually, this living better somehow leads into some kind of tyranny. Look at what's happening in Latin America. Societies of poor people that want to satisfy their needs, but some want their desires as well. Eventually, what happens? You get certain regimes that all their interest in power, they will satisfy your needs temporarily, but eventually all they want is power, and once they are in power, it is very difficult to get rid of them. I am not trying to prognosticate the future, to say what is going to happen in different countries. I just say it's an alarm. You should bear in mind, if your life is only pleasure-seeking instead of certain emotional values, spiritual values, family values, instead of things you should think about becoming, instead of satisfying basic instincts of hunger, you should try to expand your mind, expand your sentiments, look into history, look into the future, look into the welfare of society at large. If you satisfy only your immediate necessities, eventually somehow someone will come and tell you, you know what, I will provide you with everything. Why not? Just follow me a little bit. And eventually you end up in a cage. Eventually you end up in a jail. It may be a gilded jail. It may be a gilded cage. But you will be in jail and you have to obey whatever that tyrant tells you to do.